Close your eyes for a moment. I want you to imagine the center of the universe, not a place of peace or light or heavenly choirs. Imagine a cavernous hall, so vast that weather systems form near the ceiling. The air reeks of ozone, stale incense, and the copper tang of old blood. But it is not the smell that hits you first. It is the sound. It is a sound that would drive a normal human mind to madness within seconds. It is a mechanical thrumming, deep and tectonic, vibrating through the floor and into your very bones. It is the roar of coolant pumps the size of hab blocks. It is the chanting of 10,000 tech priests, desperate binary prayers trying to soothe a machine they no longer understand. And beneath it all, if you listen with your soul, there is a scream, a psychic scream of pure, undiluted agony that never stops. This is the Imperial Palace on Holy Terra. This is the Sanctum Imperialis. And sitting at the heart of this nightmare is the Master of Mankind. We are told he is a god. We are told he protects us, but we are rarely told the price. Every single day, as the sun rises over the polluted skyline of Terra, 1,000 men and women are marched into this chamber. They are not volunteers, they are fuel. They enter the presence of their god, and they do not leave. By the time the day ends, they are husks, drained of every ounce of life and soul to keep the lights on for one more day. 1,000 souls, yesterday, today, tomorrow. In the time it takes you to watch this video, dozens will have burned out completely. This is the horrifying reality of the Golden Throne. Most citizens of the Imperium believe the Emperor watches over them from a seat of glory. They believe his immortality is a divine gift. But they're wrong. The Golden Throne is not a seat of power. It is a life support system for a corpse. It is a psychic furnace that requires human fuel to burn. And the most terrifying truth of all, the furnace is failing. Welcome to the Silent Imperium. Today, we are not looking at the heroes of the Astartes or the horrors of the warp. We are looking at the rot at the very center of humanity. We are going to decode the mechanics of the daily sacrifice. We will walk the decks of the black ships, witness the sorting of souls, and stand vigil with the custodes who watch their master rot. The Emperor protects, but who protects the Emperor from his own throne? To understand the horror of the sacrifice, you must first strip away the propaganda. Forget the golden statues you see in the cathedrals. Forget the radiant warrior depicted on stained glass. If you were to stand before the Golden Throne right now, what would you actually see? You would see a carcass, a withered skeletal thing, wrapped in wires and tubes, trapped in a moment of eternal dying. The Emperor of Mankind is technically alive, but only in the vaguest biological sense. His body was shattered by Horus 10,000 years ago. For 10 millennia, he has sat immobile. His skin is like parchment stretched over dry bone. He has no eyes, only empty sockets that burn with a terrible psychic fire. He cannot speak. He cannot move. He can only scream into the warp, holding back the tides of demons that seek to consume Terra. Consider the machinery that sustains him. The Golden Throne is an artifact of archaeotech so complex that the Adeptus Mechanicus no longer knows how it works. They are terrified of it. It is a mountain of gold, brass, and dark iron, stretching up into the gloom. It is covered in miles of cabling, pulsing like veins, pumping strange fluids into the Emperor's withered form. It is less a throne than more a prison of supreme complexity. But the most disturbing evidence of the throne's true nature comes from those who guard it, the Heterion Guard, the companions of the Adeptus Custodes. These are the greatest warriors in the galaxy, transhuman demigods created to be the Emperor's closest protectors. 300 of them stand guard inside the sanctum at any given time. They do not move. They do not speak. They stand in absolute silence. But look closer at their armor. A custodian's armor is auramite, a golden alloy that is virtually indestructible. Yet for those who stand in the throne room, the gold does not last. The psychic radiation pouring off the Emperor is so intense, so toxic, that it physically chars the gold. Over years of service, their golden armor turns black. It is scorched by the sheer invisible power of the Emperor's agony. If a demigod's armor turns black, just by standing near him, imagine what that energy does to a mortal soul. Imagine the sheer radioactive pressure of the Emperor's will. This is not a blessing. This is a hazardous environment of the highest order. The Emperor is a reactor with the safety shielding removed. And like any reactor, he requires fuel, vast amounts of it. This brings us to the most uncomfortable realization for any loyalist. The Imperium is a death cult. It is built on the idea that human life is currency. We spend soldiers to buy time in war. We spend workers to buy ammunition in manufactorums. But here, in the holiest site in the galaxy, we spend souls to buy light. The Astronomican, the psychic beacon that guides all ships, is directed by the Emperor, but it is fueled by the innocent. Without this fuel, the Emperor fades. If he fades, the Astronomicon goes dark. If the light goes dark, warp travel becomes impossible. The million worlds of the Imperium are cut off, isolated, and devoured by Xenos and chaos. Humanity goes extinct. This is the brutal calculus. 1,000 innocent lives a day, or the death of the entire species. It is the ultimate utilitarian nightmare. But where do these souls come from? They don't just appear. They have to be found. They have to be hunted. And this is where the true horror begins. Not on Terra, but on your world, in your city, maybe even in your own home. If you want to uncover more dark truths about the 40K universe that the Inquisition tries to hide, make sure to subscribe to Silent Imperium. We decode the grimdark reality one layer at a time. Now let's follow the black ships.
The process begins with the League of Black Ships. This is perhaps the most feared fleet in the Imperial Navy, second only to the exterminatus fleets of the Inquisition. These ships travel from system to system, world to world on an eternal circuit. Their hull markings are obscure, their colors drab and dark. They do not come to trade. They do not come to reinforce your armies. They come for the tithe. Every planetary governor in the Imperium has a quota. It is called the Imperial Tithe. Part of it is resources. Part of it is soldiers for the Imperial Guard. But the most important part, the part that if you fail to provide will result in your execution, is the Psyker tithe. The Imperium is constantly scanning its population for those with the mutation, the witches, the weirds, the psychically active. Imagine being a child on a civilized world. You start hearing whispers that aren't there. You can move a cup with your mind. You think it's a game, but your parents look at you with terror. They know. If they hide you, the Inquisition will burn the entire block. So, they hand you over. The local Arbites drag you away in chains. You are thrown into a holding cell, waiting for the sky to turn dark. When the black ship arrives, you are processed like livestock. These ships are essentially floating prisons designed to suppress psychic energy. They are cold, silent, and filled with anti-psychic dampeners that make your head pound with a constant migraine. You're stripped of your name, your identity, and your rights. You are no longer a citizen. You are cargo. The journey to Terra can take years, sometimes decades, due to the vagaries of warp travel. Imagine growing up in the hold of a starship, surrounded by thousands of others who are weeping, mad, or catatonic. The weak die in transit. Their bodies are ejected into the void. The strong, or perhaps the unlucky, survive to reach the throne world. When the black ships finally dock at Terra, the sorting begins. This is conducted by the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. It is a brutal triage. They examine your soul with invasive psychic probes. They are looking for strength and stability. If you are strong and stable, you might be lucky. You might be trained as a sanctioned Psyker to serve in the Imperial Guard. If you are exceptionally strong, you might, very rarely, be taken by the Grey Knights or the Inquisition. But these are the success stories. They are the 1%. What about the rest? What about those who are too weak to control their power, but too psychically active to be left alive? What about those whose minds are fractured, or who are deemed too dangerous to train? They are marked. They are stamped with the designation that seals their fate. They are not chosen for service. They are chosen for the chamber of the Astronomican. They are told they have a higher purpose. They are told they will join with the Emperor. It is a euphemism, a lie to keep them compliant. They are moved to the Hollow Mountain, the headquarters of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. They are washed, shaved, and prepared, not for a ceremony, but for an extraction. They believe they are going to meet God, and in a terrifying way, they are. But God is hungry.
We often imagine sacrifice as a ritual. We think of altars, daggers, and chanting priests. It has a sense of occasion, of religious significance. But the reality of the Golden Throne is far more industrial. It is not a ceremony, it is a refueling process. The Psykers selected for the sacrifice are brought deep into the Imperial Palace, or to the Hollow Mountain where the Astronomican is projected. For those fed to the throne directly, the environment is a fusion of a cathedral and a slaughterhouse. The air is freezing cold, yet it smells of ozone and burning circuitry. The victims are strapped into metallic coffins or golden sarcophagi connected to the throne's massive machinery by thick, pulsating cables. These are not merely restraints, they are conductors. Once sealed inside, neural needles and psychoconductive shunts are driven into the Psyker's skull and spine. It is invasive, clinical, and terrifyingly efficient. The technology at work here is a form of bioalchemy. The Golden Throne does not run on electricity or promethium. It runs on the raw essence of the warp, filtered through a living human vessel. When the connection is made, the machinery begins to draw upon the Psyker's life force. It doesn't take it all at once. If it did, the surge might damage the ancient components. Instead, it siphons the soul slowly. Imagine being hooked up to a machine that drains your blood drop by drop, just fast enough to keep you on the edge of death, but slow enough to prolong the process. But this isn't blood. It is your very will to exist. The machine harvests your psychic potential, your memories, your emotions, and your vitality. This energy is channeled through the miles of cabling, purified, and then fed into the Emperor's withered husk. It is a transfusion of soul fire. The Emperor, in his eternal agony, consumes this energy to maintain his psychic vigil. He does not do this out of malice. He is a starving man being force-fed to keep his heart beating. The Psykers are simply the nutrients. For the tech priests monitoring the cogitators, the people in the pods are not human beings. They are voltage spikes on a screen. They are fuel cells. When a cell runs dry, when the human inside is reduced to a desiccated husk, an alarm chimes. Servitors detach the pod, dump the dust and bone that remains into a waste chute, and load a fresh, screaming human into the socket. The cycle never stops.
To truly understand the horror, we must step away from the statistics and look through the eyes of the victim. I want you to imagine that you are one of the chosen. You have survived the black ships. You have been told that you have a great destiny. You are strapped into the sarcophagus. The heavy lid slams shut, plunging you into darkness. At first, there is silence. Then the clamps engage. You feel the cold bite of the needles entering the base of your skull. Panic sets in, but you cannot move. Then the connection opens. It doesn't feel like pain, not at first. It feels like a sudden, violent expansion. Your mind is ripped open. You can feel the presence of the Emperor. It is not a warm, loving father figure. It is a blinding, roaring sun of psychic power. It is an ocean of agony so vast that it drowns your individual consciousness. You try to scream, but your mouth is filled with tubes. You feel your memories beginning to dissolve. You think of your mother's face, but the image is snatched away, consumed by the light. You try to remember your name, but it slips through your fingers like sand. The machine is eating your past. Then it starts on your present. Your physical strength evaporates. Your skin begins to wither, tightening against your skull. Your hair falls out in clumps. You can feel your bones becoming brittle, turning to chalk. You are aging decades in a matter of minutes. The machine demands more. It pulls at the core of your being, the spark that makes you, you. There is a moment of pure existential terror when you realize there is nothing left to give. You are hollow. You are just a conduit for the power flowing into the throne. And then, even the terror is eaten. The final spark is snuffed out. In the physical world, the sarcophagus hisses open. Inside, there is no corpse. There is only a pile of gray dust and a set of empty clothes. The servitors vacuum the ash away. Your life, your dreams, your fears, all gone, burned to nothing to buy the Imperium perhaps a fraction of a second of survival. This is what it means to serve the Emperor. It is easy to look at this process and call it evil. To kidnap innocent people, drain their souls, and discard their remains is the definition of monstrosity. Any civilization that does this deserves to fall. This is the natural, moral reaction. But Warhammer 40K is not a universe where morality ensures survival. It is a universe of cruel necessity.
we must look at the cold, hard mathematics of the situation. This is the trolley problem magnified to a galactic scale. On one track, you have 1,000 people a day. That is 365,000 lives a year. Over 10,000 years, that is billions of souls sacrificed to the machine. It is a genocide of the gifted. But look at the other track. What happens if the sacrifice stops? What happens if we decide it is too cruel and we unplug the machine? First, the Astronomican goes out. Instantly, millions of Imperial starships are blinded. They are lost in the warp. Trade ceases. Reinforcements cannot reach war zones. Within months, thousands of human worlds starve or are overrun by orcs and tyrannids. The Imperium fractures into isolated pockets of darkness. But that is not the worst part. The Golden Throne does more than just project a beacon. It is a plug. Beneath the Imperial Palace lies a shattered section of the webway, a gateway into the warp itself. The Emperor is the only thing holding that gate shut. If the throne fails, if the Emperor dies, that gate opens. Terra, the throne world, would effectively become a new Eye of Terror. The birthplace of humanity would be instantly flooded by billions of daemons. The Talisman of Seven Hammers, a doomsday device installed by the Primarch Vulcan, would likely trigger, detonating the planet to prevent the daemons from spreading. Terra is destroyed. Mars is destroyed. The light of humanity is extinguished forever. So the High Lords of Terra are faced with a choice every single morning. Do we murder 1,000 innocent people today, or do we allow the human species to go extinct? They choose the murder. They choose it every single day. They wash their hands in blood so that humanity can have a tomorrow. It is a monstrous choice, but in the grim darkness of the far future, it is the only choice. But how long can this last? A machine built 10,000 years ago cannot run forever. And this brings us to the final looming horror. The math is changing. The throne is hungry, and 1,000 souls are no longer enough. If the daily slaughter of 1,000 souls is the status quo, then the future holds something far worse. For 10,000 years, the Imperium has believed that this sacrifice is a stable equation. Inputs equal outputs. Blood equals light. But the Adeptus Mechanicus has discovered a terrifying truth that they whisper only in the deepest vaults of Mars. The Golden Throne is failing. The technology of the throne is ancient, predating the Imperium itself. It is a patchwork of Dark Age technology and Xenos artifacts that no living human fully understands. Over the millennia, components have degraded. Microfractures have appeared in the psychic dampeners. The coolant systems are clogging with the residue of 10,000 years of decay. In late M41, the Fabricator General of Mars discovered irreparable failures in the Golden Throne's mechanisms. They tried to fix it. They failed. The specialized tech priests who maintain the throne, the Ad Secularis, are finding that their prayers and rituals are no longer working. The machine is dying. But here is the most chilling indicator. The fuel efficiency is dropping. For millennia, the number was roughly 1,000 souls a day. But in recent centuries, that number has begun to rise. The throne is becoming hungry. It requires more psychic energy to produce the same amount of light. Some reports suggest the number has risen to 2,000, perhaps even 4,000 souls a day during times of psychic turbulence. Imagine a car engine that is leaking oil. You have to pour more and more oil in just to keep it running. But eventually, the leak becomes a rupture. Eventually, no amount of oil will save the engine. If the throne fails completely,
the Talisman of 7 Hammers activates. This is the dead man's switch. It will obliterate the Golden Throne, the Emperor, and most of Terra to prevent the warp rift from opening. The center of humanity will cease to exist. The Astronomican will vanish. The Imperium will die in the dark, screaming. Every soul fed to the machine today is not buying a future. It is buying a delay. We are shoveling lives into a furnace that is slowly going cold, and no one, not the High Lords, not the Inquisition, not the Guliman himself, knows how to stop it.
So, what is the Golden Throne? It is the most important object in the galaxy. It is the lighthouse that keeps the darkness at bay. It is the anchor that holds reality together. But it is also an altar of supreme cruelty. When we look at the Imperium of Man, we see the glory of the Space Marines and the might of the Titan legions. We see the eagle spreading its wings across the stars. But these are just the outer shell. Strip away the armor, strip away the flags, and look at the core. The core of the Imperium is a rotting man on a broken chair surrounded by the dust of billions of murdered innocents. The Pax Imperialis, the peace of the Imperium, is a lie. There is no peace. There is only a constant, desperate cannibalism. The Imperium survives by eating its own children. It hunts down the gifted, the unique, and the touched, and it grinds them into fuel to keep the nightmare going for one more day. We are told the Emperor protects, and he does. But he protects us from the shadows by becoming the shadow. He endures a living hell so that we can endure a life of servitude. Is it worth it? Is survival worth the price of our humanity? The Golden Throne does not answer. It only hums. It only demands. And tomorrow, when the sun rises over Terra, another 1,000 souls will walk into the dark, and they will never walk out. This is the Silent Imperium. The truth is here for those brave enough to listen. If you want to understand the true cost of the wars we fight, watch this video next, The Making of a Space Marine, The Torture of Ascension. You think the throne is bad? Wait until you see what we do to our heroes. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. The Emperor protects, but only as long as the fuel lasts.